Well, Notre Dame fans, we have some bombshell news on a Friday afternoon. This is the Notre Dame recruiting update. We're talking Irish invasion, but we had the news drop right before the show started. I think just a few minutes that Tyler Buchner is rejoining the Notre Dame football team as a walk-on wide receiver. Wow. Yeah, Kyle Kelly is writing the article for Blue and Gold as we speak. So he's going to join us in just a few minutes to talk about it. But wow, how about this news, guys? Um, it's kind of one of those things that I'm surprised, but not surprised at the same time. I definitely did not see a world where Notre Dame would have him join the roster as a quarterback. Um, and that's not what's happening. He is joining the team as a walk-on wide receiver. I am also told that Buchner will be, doing like signal calling on the sidelines. So Buchner obviously was not with the football team during spring ball. He's playing lacrosse, so he needs to learn the Mike Denbrock playbook and get up to speed pretty quickly on that. So Marcus Freeman met with reporters today, and we learned this news with the team announcing it. And Buchner penned a whole journal. I skimmed through it. Again, this news posted at what time here, guys? 12:56. We went live right at 1 p.m. So that is the news. Really, again, we are starting the show talking about this Tyler Buchner returning to the Notre Dame football team news, and then we'll dive into Irish invasion, Notre Dame's big recruiting camp on Sunday. But yeah, this is so it's big news from a personal interest standpoint, right? We like drama, whether it's like maybe your wife, if you're married, loves watching The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, because you love that good drama. And you might say, oh, I don't like watching that crap. But we all love drama. We all love it at the end of the day. And this is why this interests us so much is because it is just good drama. It's a good story. Tyler Buchner returning to the Notre Dame football team. It's a really neat story. When he signed with Notre Dame in the 2021 class, after that, he didn't play his senior year due to COVID. California didn't play. That would have been the fall of 2020. His junior year in 2019, accounted for 81 touchdowns, just had a tremendous season, was coming to Notre Dame as the next big thing at the quarterback position. And, you saw him a little bit his freshman season. I remember the Toledo game was his coming out party. Notre Dame, went and beat Florida State in 2021, was at 41-38 with Jack Cohn. And then I think it was game 2 or 3 when the Notre Dame played Toledo and unleashed Tyler Buchner as a surprise. So you had glimpses of him in 2021 looking pretty good. The Virginia Tech game, he had some ups and downs, but flash in 2021. 2022 comes along, gets hurt, in the Marshall game, comes back for the bowl game. Had ups and downs in that contest, and then the Irish bring in Sam Hartman. Buchner goes to Alabama, struggles there. He started against USF, got benched, and I don't think he played again the rest of the year for the Crimson Tide. Transfers back to Notre Dame on the lacrosse team. I'm not a big lacrosse guy, but I want to say he was like a role player coming off the bench. And the news today, guys, is that Tyler Buchner rejoining the Notre Dame football team as a walk-on wide receiver. Personally, this is just me. I don't expect to see him play this year. And to my knowledge, this is his last year of eligibility as well. So I don't expect to see him this year. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to call Tim Hyde right now. I'm going to see what Tim Hyde is doing and see if we can get Tim Hyde on the show right now. So obviously, I don't do many phone calls live on the show, but this is something I might call up Goolsby as well. So we gotta get these guys and see what is what's going on here with these guys. So pretty interesting news. And Kyle Kelly should be joining us in a little bit. Kyle's writing the story for Blue and Gold. So it looks like we don't have no Tim. Tim's not answering. Let's call up Goolsby. Let's just, this is the show. This is the show today. Yo, did you see the news? Do you want to hop on my show real quick? All right. Oh, I'm live right now. I can text you the link if you want to just hop on from your car. Probably about 40 more minutes. All right. I'll send you the link. All right, see you. Oh man, this is great. I don't know if you guys could hear him, but all right, let me send this to Goolsby. Okay, I'm just doing this. All right. Not our typical show, but yeah, we're gonna get Goolsby on here in a little bit and talk about this news. So let me read some of the comments. JCar says more drama in the quarterback battle coming. Yeah, I don't see that. I really think he's going to come in as a receiver. And I want to say, like, kudos to Tyler Buchner. Like, think about what he was as a recruit, how he popped onto the scene in 2022 and flashed. And for him to have those highs and I'm sure some lows, going to Alabama and not being able to go from you're one of the best quarterbacks in the country to I am not playing football anymore and I'm just a lacrosse player to now walking on to the team that you left as a walk-on at a different position. I'm sure that is humbling. And I want to commend Tyler Buchner for the decision to come back to Notre Dame. I think that and playing the football team. So yeah, Irishmont says, amen. Talking about the ability to put his ego aside, still wanting to be part of Notre Dame. I respect that as well. Yeah, my personal opinion is that this is something like I was talking to someone a little bit ago about this because I just learned about it maybe 20 minutes before it dropped. And I was telling this person, like, this, and from a football standpoint, I don't think this is big news. I don't. I think he's going to maybe he'll play here and there, some blowouts, and yeah, he will be signaling in plays from the sidelines and things of that nature. But from a personal interest standpoint, from the fan base, I say this a lot. We talk about on these shows and articles and whatnot. We talk about what you are interested in. If you guys were really interested in, the swimming team and I don't know, the third string left guards, we will spend our time talking about what we think you guys are interested in. We're able to figure out what you guys like, and this is something Goolsby says will pop in a minute. Love that. This is something that you guys are interested in, so we're going to talk about it. And here's the man who was just writing about this story at Blue and Gold. Let's see if I can pull up the website real quick and see it. There is the headline. Hey, Kyle, I said at the start of the show, this is surprising news, but at the same time, it's not really surprising news. The headline, former Notre Dame quarterback Tyler Buchner to rejoin program as a walk-on wide receiver. What was your first reaction, when you saw this news?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised when I caught wind of it at first, because I wasn't exactly sure what Tyler Buchner would do spending his Notre Dame fall on campus, but like I always had it in the back of my mind that once he joined the lacrosse team back in the spring, I felt he would find a way back onto the football team. And I still personally think that Tyler Buchner is a pretty talented quarterback. I mean, when you just look at what his final game was at Notre Dame, winning that Gator Bowl, being the MVP of that game, obviously things didn't work out for him at Alabama. So I always had in the back of my mind, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy, tried to give college football another try playing quarterback. But the obstacles at Notre Dame were pretty challenging because they have 4 scholarship quarterbacks, and then like, how do you bring back a guy onto the roster that was once the starting quarterback and was supposed to be the face of the program when you have other guys that are there now? So I think him coming back as a wide receiver makes a lot of sense. He's a heck of an athlete. We saw that in his freshman year and in his sophomore year when he played, running and creating plays and making plays with his legs. So it's gonna be really exciting, and I'm pretty curious to see how this shakes out for Notre Dame because if he appears in a game this fall, he's going to count towards Notre Dame's 85-man scholarship limit, and there are already a couple guys over that. So,
Okay.
not a bad idea for Tyler
So you're saying
Buchner.
he's on the lacrosse? He's a lacrosse scholarship player.
Well, he is not. Well, he currently is, but if he
So if he plays for, you're saying if he steps on the field, then he becomes a football scholarship. So
Yes.
I didn't know. I thought he might have walked on as a lacrosse player. I didn't know he was a scholarship lacrosse player, but that's
actually,
what you're saying.
I don't know that. Okay, actually,
Yeah, he might. Yeah. Either way, I would be surprised. Clearly, the news says he's walking on to the team. So I would guess, Kyle, that he is a walk-on scholarship. Excuse me, walk-on lacrosse player. Maybe you guys know about that, but in the YouTube comments. So I'm going to reiterate, Kyle, what I've been saying, and we're going to get Mike Goolsby here in a little bit when he joins backstage. This is a story from a media and fan perspective that we find this very interesting because we've been following Tyler Buchner. When did he get his offer from Notre Dame? 2018? We've been following this kid's career for 5 or 6 years. This is something that is very interesting to us because of the time we've invested. Like, I've invested reporting on him. Notre Dame fans have invested in following his career and reading the articles and watching videos about him and watching him at Notre Dame and all that good stuff. That is what's interesting about this. I think from a football standpoint, I think he's a walk-on wide receiver who will play some scout team, signal in plays, and might break into the. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I think that this is going to be a more of a non-story from a football angle. I mean, the kid's never played receiver. Maybe his freshman year of high school, maybe in 2016, 2017, whatever his freshman year of high school would have been. I think 2017. I know he played safety, and I want to say receiver. So this is someone who's a really good athlete, but hasn't played receiver since 2017, if my memory recalls. Yeah. So, I mean, this is probably the stupidest comment I've ever seen from Jay Carr, who I know is just trolling me. He says Angeli just slid in the depth chart. So there you go. Mark with glasses says Sweaty Mike needs to play Buchner in NCAA 25. I'm very curious if Tyler Buchner will be a playable character. If you'll be able to use Buchner, if he'll be able to get into the EA college football game in 2025. So that's kind of my spiel, guys. We will dive into Irish Invasion in a little bit. I want to get Goolsby in here before we transition into talking about the big camp on Sunday afternoon. I'll be there. Kyle Kelly will be there. Horka will be there. Sobel will be there. We will have a big group. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I just want to mention because you were kind of talking about like what sort of expectations we could have for Buchner as a wide receiver, and I will say I think going into the season, I'm not sure we should have many. Um, Mostly because Notre Dame's wide receivers room is extremely and vastly improved compared to last year and when Buchner was a starting quarterback in 2022. However, I will say this kind of just slightly reminds me of, gosh, this was maybe 10 years ago now when Braxton Miller, Ohio State starting quarterback, he made the transition from quarterback to wide receiver. Kind of a similar build to Tyler Buchner's, similar play style. He ended up being really successful at wide receiver and I think he was a third round NFL draft pick after like one season playing wide receiver. He didn't really pan out in the NFL, but yeah, if you're a Notre Dame fan, I think like best case scenario is Buchner ends up being like a Braxton Miller type guy, but I think that's like he's got a long road to get to that type of profile.
Yeah. Yeah, Braxton Miller is see, Buchner is a thicker kid. I wonder, could he play like even like an H-back kind of role? I don't know. Interested across the board.
So Braxton Miller was 6'2", 215 pounds.
Okay, so that sounds like Buchner to a T, actually.
Let me see what Buchner was at Notre Dame. His playing weight as a quarterback. Buchner
Here, I
was
got you.
6'1", 215. So
yeah, that's not
maybe
saying.
not
Okay,
the worst comparison here.
yeah, I like it. I like it. I don't know if we'll be wearing TB12. CJ Carr is wearing 12 right now. So will we see Buchner wearing some 80s number? I don't know. Yeah, Nick says Buchner going to be a wide receiver. Who knew? Yeah, Kyle, are you kind of with me that it's one of those things that it's surprising but not surprising? Like when people kept saying throughout the spring, like, oh, he's gonna join the football team, rejoin the football team, and I always said he's not. Because I was just like, there's no way they're going to bring another quarterback into this. Like, that would be such a distraction. And I don't think that would be great for the quarterback room to bring him back. But he's not. He's coming back as a wide receiver. And, yeah, I'm not surprised, but still a little surprised,
Yeah, I think this makes the most sense for him to come. Like you were kind of touching on, and as I said, as soon as I joined the show, I don't think it makes the most sense for him to come back as a wide receiver. Now, if there was a circumstance where one of Notre Dame's 4 scholarship quarterbacks would have transferred after the spring, that would have been an avenue. Like especially like say if they're with Riley Leonard being injury prone type of guy, then you kind of like you only have 2 scholarship quarterbacks behind Leonard. So maybe then you would have asked Buchner to see if he was interested in returning the program. But, when you got 4 scholarship quarterbacks and based off the way we saw those guys perform this spring, I think we're confident that any of those guys could pinch hit in a game or two. And, maybe a guy like Stephen Jelly or gosh, even, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but with CJ Carr with the way he looked, you think that those are guys that can play a full season for Notre Dame. So I think it would have been too complicated for him to rejoin as a wide receiver. I'm sure that's kind of what the conversation looked like between Buchner and Marcus Freeman when this came together. So I really like the idea of him coming as a wide.
Let's put our heads together, me and Kyle and the YouTube chat. So 2021, there's no COVID year for Tyler Buchner, right? That's only for players who were on a roster in 2020. Buchner joined the team in 2021. He played more than 4 games in 2021. He played 3 games in 2022. So there's his redshirt year. He played in a few games in 2023. But yeah, you already used your redshirt year. I don't think he gets some medical, who knows, in college football, make something up. So he should, have 2 years to play. Guys,
Yeah,
so 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he's got 2 years to play.
I put him down in my story as at least we know for sure 2 years of eligibility remaining. He has his senior year and then another or another year because he was a red shirt. But technically, he could have applied for like a medical red shirt maybe since like he didn't play in his 22 during the 22 season enough games, but I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah,
And
but
I
I feel
think
like that would just
you
be a
have
red shirt year. I feel like you only get a medical red shirt if you already used your red shirt. But also, it's
exactly.
the NCAA anymore. You can do whatever the hell you want, it seems like these days. So yeah, I am curious. I would guess 2 more years. Um, Mark says let's bring Drew Pine to and load up. You guys remember a few months ago there was the picture at like the South Bend Chipotle where you could see, I think it was Buchner and Hartman, and then you could see the backs of Drew Pine and Steve Angeli. I'm just wow, would love to have been a fly on that wall. Yeah, Irishmont says maybe Leonard is more hurt than what we know. Listen, guys, I really strongly believe that this has nothing to do with Notre Dame's quarterback situation. This is very much a Tyler Buchner specific thing that he loves Notre Dame. He wants to give it a shot. He's got a close relationship with Marcus Freeman. Freeman was just at, Buchner's national championship lacrosse game. Yeah. Do you honestly respect Buchner to see the field as a wide receiver? I personally, I think he's going to play garbage time. I don't think he's going to break into the receiver rotation. Sergio says that's 22 minutes talking about Buchner. Sergio, I know you want to talk about invasion. We're going to get there. If you don't want to watch, you don't have to, but we will get there in a little bit. But just waiting on Goolsby. Tim just texted me back and said, "Hey, I saw you called. What's going on?" Tim. So, any other thoughts, Kyle? I guess we can move to an invasion. He definitely played in 3 games in 2022, unless the bowl game doesn't count anymore. But okay, bowl doesn't count. Yeah. So yeah, he redshirted 2021. He played in a bunch of games. 2022 is the redshirt year. He played in 2023, so I think he's got 2 more years to play. So there you go. Cal, is all your work done with publishing and socials for our story?
Yeah, I'm just kind of in a rut right now because if you see me not looking at the screen, it's because I'm texting with our 2 colleagues at Blue and Gold, Tyler Horka and Jack Sobel, because I'm trying to make sure my story is accurate. And I'm trying to figure out if Tyler Buchner is a a scholarship lacrosse player. Because if that was the case, that would affect Notre Dame's 85-man scholarship limit for
Yeah,
football. So I'm
yeah,
trying to get that nailed down to make sure it's clear in my story, but everything's posted. The story is up, and I'm ready to talk about Irish invasion when you are.
yeah. If he is a scholarship lacrosse player, he will not play on the. Otherwise, why the hell would they call him a walk on for the football team? But yeah,
But
I'm guessing he's
Faison,
a
I mean,
lacrosse walk
everyone
on.
said Faison was a walk on, and I mean,
He was for sure,
yeah,
and
but
then he got a scholarship after the Louisville
well,
game, right? So
well, Faison got his scholarship because he's a scholarship lacrosse player. So as soon as he played football for Notre Dame, he was going to count towards that limit.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, because he's really damn good. Yeah. All right,
you
we
want
are going. What's
I
up?
just say, you want to know something else? Notre Dame's got another lacrosse player on the roster that's going to play wide receiver, Matt Jeffrey, who's entering the program as a walk on. So they're going to have three lacrosse players in that wide receiver room.
Let's hear from our sponsors over at My Perfect Franchise. You guys let me know in the YouTube comments all the time that we have a lot of displaced corporate executives, so we gotta we got to ask you if you're wanting to put your career in your own hands. Maybe you're an experienced entrepreneur wanting to diversify. Well, maybe you should give Andy Ludicky a call. He's a huge college sports fan and franchise veteran, having owned multiple franchises and businesses. Using Andy's expertise, he can help you find your American dream through a very thorough consultation and evaluation process. Call Andy, put your life and career in your own hands, and best of all, his services are 100% free to you. So what do you have to lose? Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net. Give Andy a call, 404-973-9901, myperfectfranchise.net. Oh my gosh. Tim said something come up. Buchner is back. Pull your head out of your you-know-what. All right, let me text Goolsby. He'll be here when he is. So let's go through some Irish invasion visitors / campers until Goolsby gets in here, so we can get his thoughts on all of this. I would say the biggest one is Deuce Knight, Lucedale, Mississippi. George County High School was at the On3 Elite Series in Nashville earlier this week. And after that, went up to South Bend. So got to town Thursday, and Deuce told me that he will be in South Bend until Monday when he heads out. So pretty nice news here. Even though the Ole Miss 24/7 guy, in my opinion, is just throwing something on the wall and seeing if it sticks by flipping or logging a prediction for Deuce to flip to Ole Miss. I no disrespect to that guy. I think it's bogus. Follow the visits, and Deuce just continues to get up to South Bend. So I believe this is visit number 9. And then when Deuce takes his official visit in just a couple weeks, that'll be his 10th trip to campus. So Deuce very much solid with the Irish, in my opinion. And we'll get to see him Sunday. Really excited, Kyle, about seeing Deuce Knight in person. I've seen him a few times before. This will probably be your first time seeing them, though, right, Kyle?
Yes, it will. And I'm excited to see the softball fire it up. Just from what I've seen from your video of watching him at some of those high school games in the Under Armour camp in the Atlanta, Georgia area this winter. I'm really excited to see the way he's progressed. And it's going to be cool to see him work out with Gino Guidugli, because Gino can put him through his own little workout. Like, I remember last year at the Irish Invasion camp, there was another 25 quarterback. I think his name was Keldon or Keaton Ryan. He ended up committing to Virginia or Virginia Tech, but Guidugli had like a special workout designed for him, and he ran like a 2-minute offense at the end of practice. So wonder if we'll get to see Knight do that. That'd be pretty cool, but I'm also looking forward to seeing him kind of transition gears here. I'm sure I'm excited to see him throw to one of Notre Dame's wide receiver commits, Elijah Burris.
All right. I just got to ban an idiot in the YouTube comments. Just stupid. I don't put up a whole lot of stupidity on the YouTube comments. We're going to move along some more quarterbacks, some 2027 guys. Zackery Katz from Miami, 6'1", 196 going into his sophomore year of high school. Offers from Miami, FIU, Louisville, Ole Miss, some of the notable ones for him. So, yeah, I mean, Notre Dame's got their 2025 quarterback commit, zeroing in the 2026 class on guys like Brady Hart and Noah Grubbs, and then they're getting a good head start on 2027. So they'll get to see Zackery Katz, and there's like, Kyle, I think you had reported in your story today, a couple dozen, maybe up to 30 quarterbacks going to be there. Just a few of the notables. Trey Taylor from Carmel Catholic, 6'2", 180 pounds. He's got several big-time scholarship offers. This is going to be one to watch closely, in my opinion, moving forward in the 2027 class. And then we got to throw out there in the 2025 class, Cooper Kmet, the younger brother of former Notre Dame tight end Cole Kmet, will be throwing for the staff, more of a walk-on candidate from a Notre Dame perspective. So, Kyle, do you have anything you want to add on the quarterbacks before we move on?
No, not a whole lot. A lot of underclassmen are going to be there, including 27 guys. So Notre Dame's got a head start on 26, and now they can get a head start on 2027.
All right, Kyle, I'm going to bump you, and we're gonna bring in Goolsby for a little bit. All right, brother.
Good deal.
All right, let's bring on former Notre Dame linebacker and captain Mike Goolsby. So Goolsby, before we started recording this, maybe before right now, it was like 40 minutes ago, we got the Buchner news. Big Dog, what was your first reaction, man?
Like probably joy, but I may have known about that for some time. So like kind of being in this role, you get to know people and you hear things, and maybe that was the plan all along. Who knows? But I'm glad that the kid's back. And I mean, I've always said he's a uniquely talented kid. I think he's kind of one of those guys that's one of one. So yeah, just super proud of him. And yeah, I mean, that kid's designing his own life. He's kind of writing his script as he goes along. So maybe I can write the foreword in his biography one of these days.
So what do you think about the news of him playing receiver? Like, yeah, I mean, he is a really good athlete. I mean, I don't know, any initial thoughts about what his future could look like in terms of getting on the field at that position?
Listen, I think Tyler's probably of the mindset he wants to do at this point in his career. He wants to do whatever possible to help that team. Right. So whether that's a walk-on wide receiver, so be it. Right. I mean, he just wanted to get back on the team. So yeah. I think there's one thing too. I tend to root for people's success. I just think it's good karma. It's the way you should live your life. But like kind of the humility, he's a top-ranked quarterback. He's a starter at Notre Dame. He's a starter at Alabama. And then to have the humility to kind of swallow his pride and be like, I love this place. I love this team. I want to come back. Dude, I'll fill up water bottles. I just want to be around it. It's like, who wouldn't applaud that?
Yeah. That was one of my first takeaways as well. I kind of went through like the trajectory of his career from this Elite 11, borderline 5-star quarterback at points in his recruiting process to, returning to the school you left as a lacrosse player and a walk-on receiver. Like he's clearly loves Notre Dame, and that is on display. Like he just, will do anything. Walk-on receiver, like scout team player, and is going to be like signaling in plays during the season. Like that's what I was told. So, I commend him for that. And I also added Goolsby that I think from like for us as media, I guess you're a media now, Goolsby, media and fans. This is a big deal to us because we've been following this kid's career for like 6 years at this point. But from an actual like football standpoint, we'll see. My take is that in terms of him actually playing a ton, again, we'll see. I don't think that's
well.
Going
I could
to
say
happen.
this, and as I was just at the bank trying to get all this stuff working. I said it didn't work out, so sorry to come on later than I had wanted to.
You're good.
But I played with a guy who was a co-captain with me, Carlisle Holiday, another highly recruited, super athletic quarterback. Got demoted. Brady Quinn takes over at the position. Again, Carlisle, he's back there returning punts, running routes as a receiver. Oh, now granted, he wasn't coming back as a walk-on. The scenario is a little bit different, or much different rather, but the guy plays for the Arizona Cardinals for 3 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
He was drafted. You can look it up. He was drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, and I don't even know if he ever picked up a baseball bat. He was just that athletic. They drafted him in the later rounds just based off of his ability. So who's to say what Tyler's career is going to turn into? But I think, again, collectively, why wouldn't you root for a kid like this?
Yeah.
Frankly. Yeah. And then beyond that, kudos to Coach Freeman. Kudos to Coach Freeman for opening that door. I don't know what was said in terms of Tyler making his pitch to return to football, But kudos to Coach Freeman, because he didn't have to do this either, because
Yeah.
there could be some drama attached, et cetera,
Yep.
et cetera. So I think it's, kind of love all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else on this, Goolsby? I don't want to hold
No,
you for too long.
no, man. No, I just,
Excited for the kid, dude.
I think this might have been part of Tyler's plan all along. Once it didn't work out at Alabama, I think he's been wanting to come back and get back on the team all along. So I'm just glad that everything comes together, and what a cool story, man. What a kid.
Yeah. And he's a national champion on that lacrosse team.
Can't take that away from him. So, we talked about that on Patreon recently, brother. It's like, dude, there's something, Faison's on that team. There's maybe some connective tissue, championship DNA. All ships rise with the tide. There might be something special happening in South Bend, just maybe.
Cool. All right, Goolsby, I appreciate you popping on here.
My pleasure.
All right, you enjoy the rest of your Friday, man. We'll catch up soon, all right?
See ya.
All right, there's Mike Goolsby and his reaction to Buchner returning to the team as a walk-on wide receiver. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to our channel for more content. And we have a story at blueandgold.com on this news. And in the coming hours and days, we will have even more posted on our website, blueandgold.com. Also want to make you guys aware of our magazine, our big football preview magazine that is available right now for pre-orders. So this is the link to type in. It's bluegoldonline.com. So bluegoldonline.com. It's different than our On3 website, blueandgold.com. This is our magazine website. So when you go to the site, you can see right here, it says click here to see how to save on pre-orders, whether you're a blueandgold.com subscriber, a magazine subscriber. If you're not either, you can still save $5 with free shipping. This offer ends June 7th. So if you have already had the 2024, if you have already had one of the Blue and Gold football preview yearbooks before, you know that it is just jam-packed with information on the upcoming season. 160-page, full-color, glossy magazine that includes in-depth analysis of each position group, player features, including one on Riley Leonard, previews of each Notre Dame opponent, a final evaluation of the 2019 recruiting class, plus information-filled note section, a look at former Irish players in the NFL, recruiting overview that myself and Kyle Kelly are working on, and more. So the phrase on the cover of the magazine is high stakes, because it is a high stakes season for Notre Dame in quarterback Riley Leonard. So please check that out, bluegoldonline.com, to purchase this year's 2024 Notre Dame football preview. All right, so that was cool. What a day so far. Miguel says, how about Angeli throwing to Tyler Buchner for the Natty? Can we get that in writing? Can you guys tell the writers, the script writers, to make that happen? That would sound great. Miguel, thank you for the $2. Archie says, what's going with Tyson Ford? Yeah, I mean, he's at Notre Dame and he's not really broken into the rotation yet. And hoping for a big fall camp for him, but I mean, I don't really know what else to add on Tyson Ford right now. I don't know if you do, Kyle, but Archie, appreciate the 5.
Now, if there was a year for Tyson Ford to break through, this would be the one. But I think just based off what we saw in spring practice, he's kind of on the outside looking in there, especially after he, spent some time away from the team over the last couple of weeks. But who knows? I mean, maybe some time away motivated him and gives him a chance to have a really strong fall camp. And based on the depth at that position, that's a spot that if he sets his mind to it and gets it together, I think that he could see some snaps this fall. But yeah, we do need to see a little bit more out of Tyson Ford in preseason camp.
Yeah. Moving to the Irish Invasion coverage. So for folks wondering, this is Notre Dame's big prospect camp that is at the Irish Athletic Center. 2025 for prospects, 2026, 2027 across the board. Some top of the board targets, commits, I mean, in different classes, all that good stuff. So we're going to talk about the guys who are going to be working out for the Irish staff. Kyle and I will be there. And this is one that I think is pretty interesting. Mr. Kelly is Jameer Brown from Wayne High School in Huber Heights. That's, of course, the school that Marcus Freeman and Mike Mickens attended. The Irish pulled Emil Wagner out of there. If there was going to be a surprise commit, and this is not sourced at all, I told Kyle this yesterday. If there's going to be a surprise commit, I think it might be Jameer Brown. Just a crazy left field 2027 commit. And I'm talking this would be a big surprise. But Kyle, I think you had reported that he has a good bit of family coming in town.
Yeah, Brown's mother, his grandmother, and 2 uncles will all be in South Bend with him. So,
yeah,
rising sophomore, but
it would be early.
The sounds of it, going to be giving Notre Dame a pretty extensive look, and in addition to participating in Sunday's camp.
Yeah, so Michigan, Penn State among his early offer list, and listed as an athlete by On3, but the rising sophomore is going to be working out as a wide receiver. Moving along, Kyle, just some other names. We're kind of going position by position on the offensive side of the ball to start. From Chicago, Naperville St. Francis, rising junior wide receiver. Zackery Washington has a handful of Power 5 offers. Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana included. Another Chicago prospect from Morgan Park, Nasir Rankin. 4-star prospect, number 308 overall player, number 28 athlete, has an athlete designation. Notre Dame looking at him as a wide receiver. Continue on with the pass catchers. This is a tight end, Landon Meyer from Cincinnati Princeton, nation's number 429 overall prospect, number 21 tight end. Now, as we go through the prospects, not many of them are uncommitted and hold offers from Notre Dame, but I think we're going to see, I don't know, Kyle, I think like last year, it was like 5 new offers. It's usually somewhere between like 4 and 6 offers go out from Irish Invasion. Last year was the Derek Meadows coming out party. Like we saw Ivan Taylor. I think Notre Dame offered Ivan Taylor from last year's camp too. Going back the year before that, or maybe 2 years before that, we saw Jaden Osbury work out for Irish Invasion. So it's always a good camp to learn about new prospects. So we'll see Landon Meyer. I wanted to throw this one in there. Another Cincinnati kid, Sam Hamilton from Archbishop Moeller. He's a fan favorite for me because I met him at in an elevator in San Antonio that was coincided with the All-American Bowl Combine. And I saw Sam Hamilton there. He's wearing a Moeller shirt. And I was like, hey, are you Carson Hobbs' teammate? So I got to meet Sam, and I kept in touch with him a little bit. So excited to see Sam again. Before we move on to the offensive lineman, anything you want to add on those pass catchers?
I think the wide receivers are going to be among the most talented group there on Sunday. We'll get into defensive backs later, but there's a trio of safeties that are pretty talented, but this wide receivers group is really good as well. So Deuce Knight, we'll have no shortage of guys to throw to. Sometimes with these camps, you never know what you're going to get, but I think on Sunday there's a really good group of wide receivers that are going to be there.
Yeah, and then in terms of Notre Dame commits, Elijah Burris from Wayne, New Jersey, DePaul Catholic. We'll see him there. And I'm just trying to see on the offensive side of the ball if there's any other Notre Dame commits. It just looks like Burris and Knight for now. And then we'll talk about some Notre Dame commits on the defensive side of the ball in a moment that we'll see. I'm super pumped about seeing Elijah Burris. I'm a huge Elijah Burris fan. Just a really good technical, fundamental wide receiver with some pop to him as well. So I'm super pumped about my first viewing of Elijah Burst in action. One of the more higher-ranked kids we're going to see is Carter Scruggs from Leesburg, Virginia. Interior offensive lineman of the 2026 class, 6'4.5", 275 pounds. Nation's number 114 overall player, number 9 interior offensive lineman. Irish have not offered yet. I think with a strong performance, we could see Scruggs at an offer from the Irish. Coming from Pat Coogan's high school, Chicago Marist, Rico Schreiber, handful of Power 5 offers, Purdue, Indiana, Iowa State, and some others. There's no way that it's did you take this photo, Kyle? This looks like a Kyle Kelly photo. 6'7", 345 pounds.
That has to be accurate. That dude is ginormous.
Wow.
He's a big boy.
Jeez, me cricket. Okay, so Rocco Schreiber, 6'7", 345 pounds from Chicago Marist. And then one of the few 2025 prospects visiting who we think could be in line for an offer. I don't think there's many. Cameron Herron from Indy Warren Central. Kyle, when he visited Notre Dame, hold on, let me see when he last visited.
I can tell you.
You know this off the dome. So it's twice for looks like bowl practice and then junior day in January. I remember hearing from sources that Notre Dame really likes Cameron Herron. It's just they were just landing all their top offensive line targets left and right. With Stree Big, Will Black, who looked tremendous, and Matty Augustine. Right, it's just 3. Am I forgetting a 4th?
No, just those 3.
Just the 3. They don't really have room for another offensive lineman, but Cameron Herron might just, I don't know, he could dominate Sunday, and if he's not in line for an offer this weekend, maybe sometime down the road. But a pretty nice prospect. Again, I know Notre Dame likes him a good bit. Just tight numbers on the offensive line.
Yeah, when you talk about Cameron Herron, he's a guy that projects as a center prospect, which is when you look on the Notre Dame roster, they don't really have a lot of those guys. That Joe Otting is one, but I think he's still working on building up his a college ready size. They moved Sam Pendleton to center at times during spring practice. And then in the 24 class, they've tried a couple different things. I think even Anthony Knapp played some center at Notre Dame. So ironically, if I'm trying to remember, I talked to so many recruits, but I think Cameron Herron's another guy that doesn't have a ton of experience at center, but that's where he projects in college. So if Notre Dame were to offer him and, if he were to commit, I think he's a guy that certainly ends up on the interior of the offensive line. That's how he's projected. I think Notre Dame likes him best at center, would complement well with the 3 offensive tackles they have verbally committed already in 25.
Yeah. Good kid too. I've always enjoyed getting to interact with Cam. And looking forward to seeing him Sunday. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. This might be so for the uncommitted guys, this might be the biggest name, I think, visiting. This very much feels like a Derek Meadows type deal where Notre Dame brings a kid up for camp without an offer, but everyone kind of knows damn well that this kid, if he just shows up and is able to walk, he's going to get an offer. And that's Braylon Womack from Mississippi, Brandon, Mississippi, Hartfield Academy. Decent prospect according to the rankings and the offer lists. He's the number 28 overall player, number 3 safety in the 2026 class according to the On3 industry ranking. And the offer list, not shabby either. Here's 5 schools: Ole Miss, Bama, LSU, Tennessee, and Georgia after Womack already, and very much believe that Notre Dame will join the mix if he looks half decent on Sunday, which he will. So 6'5", 200 pounds. This is probably, again, in terms of the uncommitted guys, this is the headliner of the camp for me. Would you say the same, Kyle? You've spent a little bit more time diving into the invasion list than I have. Would you agree with me, though?
Yeah, I thought it was so necessary that I included him in my headline a little bit, kind of foreshadowing his presence, I guess. So
yeah,
this is a guy that I think that like you said, we really expect Notre Dame to offer. Can't remember if it was Marty Biaggi. I think it was Marty Biaggi or maybe Mike Mickens. Went down to see him at his high school during the spring evaluation period. So Notre Dame's already got a good bit of information on him. They went and visited him at his high school. This was after he had already scheduled a trip up to Notre Dame for the Irish invasion. So I think this is just one of those circumstances where they've kind of told him like, hey, we're going to offer you as soon as you get to campus. So I think that's the expectation going into Sunday.
Yeah, agree there. So in terms of actually, let's just go through the rest of these prospects, and then we're going to talk about the commits. Jude Oaklakey from Watertown, Connecticut, the Taft School, 6'1", 285-pound interior defensive lineman with offers from Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Duke. He'll be at the camp Sunday. Cam Thomas, Lakota West, Westchester. Lakota West is the school that Notre Dame signed, Ben Minnick and Tabron Benny Powell from, Kyle? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Ranked as a 4-star prospect according to the On3 Entry ranking. Linebacker prospect, considered Michigan lean per the RPM. We'll see if Notre Dame offers him. One of those few 2025 prospects who we'll see at Notre Dame, who potentially could end up on the commit list for the Irish, is Dalen Penson from Tyrone, Georgia, Sandy Creek. Had a very strong Under Armour camp in Carrollton, Georgia earlier this year. Notre Dame offered him following that as a defensive back, but then Notre Dame's defensive backboard really filled up. They only have one spot left as a safety. Jadon Blair, Jameer Joseph, the names to watch there. So Penson, Notre Dame is looking at as a corner. I think they're just going to work him out at multiple spots, Kyle, and see how he looks. That's kind of my thought. Like, he's just a really good athlete. Let's just put him on the field and see. Maybe they can take him just as an athlete and see where it goes from there. But Penson is a prospect who Notre Dame likes a good bit, has offered. Haven't heard as much recently with him. I mean, look, he's camping at Notre Dame, so we'll see if the staff kind of where it goes from here between Notre Dame and Dalen Penson. And then another prospect of note, Roseville, Michigan, 2020. It's another 2025 safety. So again, I just talked about Notre Dame has an opening at safety for this 2025 class. Maybe if they strike out on a Joseph and a Blair, maybe they go after a guy like Desmond Stroughton, 5'11", 180 pounds, considered a Michigan State lean, 3-star prospect in the 25 class. Any thoughts on the guys we just ran through there, Kyle?
Yeah, one note with Penson, I believe he recently camped at Georgia as a wide receiver.
Okay.
So I know pretty recently, I think On3 designated him as a cornerback, but they had mostly considered him for the majority of his recruitment as an athlete prospect. So would not be surprised to see him move around a couple positions on Sunday. And I mean, not a bad idea to get him up on campus. I think you and I both feel pretty strongly about Notre Dame's 5 defensive back guys signing with the program in December, but never bad to get a super talented guy up to campus, see him compete in person, evaluate him, and that's always a guy you can bring on later on if needed.
Kyle, what's your biggest storyline of the camp? Like, what's your one biggest thing that you're looking forward to seeing?
Biggest thing for me is actually 2 things. They both revolving around the commits. I really want to see Deuce link up with Elijah Burris and the wide receivers that are there, and I want to see how that those defensive line guys move, those commits, Joe Reif, Dominic Kulak, and Christopher Burgess. I got to see Burgess at the Under Armour camp about a month ago. That guy looks much improved.
Yeah, Kyle, Kyle, I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. I forgot to go through this. So the Notre Dame commits on defense who will be there. Dom Hulak from IC Catholic Prep in Chicago. Chris Burgess, Notre Dame defensive end commits, and Joseph Reif. So your 3 Chicago guys, Reif from York and Elmhurst. So we'll see those guys on Sunday as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as I was kind of pointing out that I got to see Burgess about a month ago at the Under Armour camp, and I saw Burgess last year at the Under Armour camp and at last year's Irish Invasion, and the improvements he's made from his sophomore year to his junior year. Obviously, now he's entering his senior season, are pretty tremendous. Like I came away from that Under Armour camp thinking that Burgess has the ability to play Viper. I think Notre Dame projects him as a strong side defensive end, but he's a really talented player. He I wouldn't say skyrocketed, but he climbed up the rankings on both 24/7 and Rivals after the Under Armour camp. And I think On3 might have even moved him up as well. So he's having a really good offseason in the rankings. He's going to have a massive senior year at Chicago Simeon. I almost fear for some of those Chicago public league teams that are going to have to face him on the defensive line this year. So really excited to see how Chris Burgess continues to progress. Joseph Reeve, I've gotten to see in person before, so I kind of know what to expect out of him. But I'm also really excited to see Dominic Hulak compete at Viper on that weak side defensive end position, or just go through defensive line drills. We got a little bit of a glimpse of Hulak on the defensive line last summer when Notre Dame moved him positionally midway through the camp. We've talked about so many times in our stories and our video and on the message board on Blue and Gold over the last 9 months about how Notre Dame was recruiting Hulak as a Viper. Then it became a linebacker. Now it's back to Viper. So we fully expect him to remain a defensive line prospect moving forward. That's where he will enroll, or that's where he will start at when he enrolls at Notre Dame. So I'm excited to see him move around a little bit, and if he's getting more comfortable on the D line.
Yeah. So definitely, yeah, the Burris Deuce Knight. I really want to see those guys working together. That's going to be fascinating. And just look, Gino and Deuce have spent a ton of time together, whether it's Deuce coming up South Bend or Gino going down to Lucedale, Mississippi. But they're not able to work out together. So this will be the first time where Gino's able to coach Deuce Knight. And we're going to get to see it. Like, that's really neat. Pumped up for that, to see how they interact. When I talked to Deuce earlier this week, I'd just been swamped, haven't been able to write up the story. Deuce told me that he's been working out with the QB country coach. So last week when Deuce was thrown with Riley Leonard and Phillip River and Carr and all those guys, like it was the QB country coach, was it David Morris, I believe. That wasn't Deuce's first time working out with them. He's been working out with them once or twice a week for a little while now. So that's why we've seen Deuce in some 7-on-7 clips and whatnot. He's kind of taken his game as a quarterback to the next level. So I'm pumped to see that in person. Kind of him cleaning up his mechanics, because to that point, Deuce has just been an athlete playing quarterback. He never had like specialized quarterback training until this offseason. Fired up to see what Deuce looks like at the camp Sunday, working out with Gino. And then, yeah, just guys like Braylon Womack, Cam Herron, Dalen Penson, some of the maybe like potential offer, potential push kind of guys. Excited to see how they look. And then always just surprises, like who stands out that you maybe weren't expecting. Always looking forward. Like last year, Daniel Anderson entered the Irish Invasion camp with a Long Island offer. Notre Dame then offered him. Tennessee, Mississippi State offer him, and then he commits to Notre Dame, and he's been pledged to the Irish since last September, the day of the Ohio State game. He announced his commitment. So excited about just the potential of new news. Kyle, that's going to do it for this show. That exciting and news breaks and all that kind of good stuff. We talked a lot early in the show for the first half hour or so. Tyler Buchner rejoining the Notre Dame football team as a walk-on wide receiver. And yeah, we're going to end the show there. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in. We will have a lot of coverage Sunday from Irish Invasion. We'll have some coverage on the website tomorrow as well, June 1st. So check out blueandgold.com Saturday. On Sunday, we'll have Irish Invasion. and then we'll have video coverage from that, lots of articles, and that kind of good stuff, the whole 9 yards. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, and as always, we will catch you next time.